So many of us are still in shock over the tragic suicide of dancer and DJ Stephen Twitch Boss. News of his passing left so many of us wondering, how can someone who appeared to be so happy and so successful be struggling so much? And how can you help someone if they aren't showing any signs that something is wrong? So here to talk about this is Shari Sinwelski, a clinical counselor with Didi Hirsch. Shari, thank you so much for joining us on such an important topic. We really appreciate your help.
Thank you.
All right, we always talk about the signs to look out for when someone is struggling. Maybe they just admit that they're depressed or you could see it. But what do we do when it seems like a person is perfectly fine?
Yeah, well, it's important that we're paying attention to the people that we care about. Oftentimes there's things maybe that are slight changes in their behavior, their demeanor. But even if there isn't, just asking people, how are you doing? And really listening to the answer. Oftentimes we create an environment we're just expecting people to say, oh, I'm fine, everything's great. But if we really take a moment to listen to what they have to say with a non-judgmental response, people can trust that they can come to us when something really is bothering them.
That's a good point, because we're so busy with our lives and everyone's busy. It's kind of like nobody really takes the time, right, to just have a moment with each other and really listen to each other and figure out what's going on. And it was interesting to hear the latest report is specifically about DJ Twitch and his wife saying they did not have a fight before all of this happened. And so you were mentioning, there are sometimes a trigger, right, something that could happen that would lead someone to make a quick turnaround. Talk about some of those triggers or what we should look for.
Yeah, sometimes things happen in our lives that can overwhelm us and stress us out. A lot of times people have something going on the inside that we don't know about. It might be a stressful life situation, a relationship issue, as you noted, but it could just be a struggle with not feeling like they're good enough, feeling down, feeling a lot of pressure from having to always, seem happy, to seem like everything is okay. And so I think that what's really important is that, we need to be able to talk to people that we know around us and ask them, how are they doing? How are they feeling? I've noticed that you seem a little bit different. Is something going on? And if they say, yeah, really listen to that. And sometimes you might even, notice that they're giving warning signs for suicide. So maybe they're saying, I just can't take it anymore. I'm not happy. I don't want to be around. And it's important to stop and say, are you thinking about suicide? Because people sometimes want permission to talk about it. It's hard for them to say those words unless they know that you're open to that.
Absolutely. And sometimes you do hear people say those exact words, right? Or say that they've had those thoughts. What should you do? How should you talk to someone who previously had suicidal thoughts or ideations, or, maybe isn't open to talking about it anymore, but in the past that has been an issue?
Well, one of the things that statistics show us is that for every person that dies by suicide, 316 people seriously consider suicide, but find a way to go on living a happy life. And so that's really helpful to know, because it gives us hope for ourselves to help them, but also for them. And, one of the things that we want to do is make sure that they're safe in the moment. So if we hear that they're thinking about suicide, we want to learn a little bit more about what they might be considering doing. But we also really just want to be able to support and listen to them, to be non-judgmental, to let them know we're here for them, and to follow up afterwards and see how they're doing. And if that's a lot for you to remember, you can always call 988. So 988 is a number that's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There are counselors there always able to talk to someone who's thinking about suicide, but also to help if you're worried about someone that you care about.
Oh, that's such good advice. That's so important, Shari. Thank you so much for all of that information. It's really good to know that this 988 hotline is available not only for somebody who may need help, but also for those people concerned about someone who may need help. So as Shari just mentioned, if you or someone you know is struggling with suicidal thoughts, you can always call or text 988. That's the suicide hotline number. You're seeing it right there. They're available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. All right, Shari, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Sandra.